If you and your partner are trying to start a family, you know it can be an exciting time, but it can also come with a lot of questions and a lot of worries. Well, today, we're going to tackle one of the biggest, most common worries that so many couples have but are often too shy to talk about.
Does this sound familiar? You're lying there after intercourse, and you're thinking, wait a minute, it feels like everything is just coming out? Is this the reason it's not happening for us? If that thought has ever crossed your mind, I want you to listen closely, because we're about to get you a very clear answer.
And the very first thing you need to know is this: you are absolutely not alone. Seriously, this is one of the top questions that doctors and fertility specialists get from couples who are trying for a baby. It's a completely normal thing to wonder about. So let's just park that anxiety for a minute and look at what's really going on.
To really get to the bottom of this, we've got to shift from that feeling of worry to the simple facts of biology. And trust me, when you see how it all works, it's actually going to make a lot of sense. Okay, let's start with a mind-blowing number. In a single male discharge, there are more than 20 million sperm. Just let that sink in. 20 million. It's like an enormous army, all with a single destination in mind.
But here is the most incredible part of the whole story. Despite that huge number, that massive team of 20 million plus, you only need one. That's it. Just one single super determined sperm needs to make it to the egg to begin a pregnancy.
So you're probably asking, what's all that fluid that comes out then? Great question. That's called seminal fluid. Think of it like a high-tech delivery van. Its only job is to transport the precious cargo, the sperm, and to keep them safe and fed along the way. But once the cargo has been dropped off, the delivery van's job is pretty much done. The fluid itself isn't what causes pregnancy. And that's exactly why it is perfectly 100% natural for all that extra fluid to come out. The female body simply isn't built to hold all of it inside. So, what you're experiencing isn't a sign that something is wrong, it's actually a sign that the system is working exactly as it should.
So, let me just say this as clearly as I possibly can. Based on all the medical science, the leakage of fluid after intercourse cannot be the reason for your inability to conceive. I'm going to say it again because it's that important. That leakage is not the problem, period.
Okay, so now that we've hopefully put that big worry to rest, you might be thinking, all right, if that's not the issue, then what is? Where should I be putting my energy and focus to actually increase our chances? Well, that's exactly what we're going to get into right now. Let's move away from the myth-busting and into some real, practical strategies. This is all about the simple, easy things you can do to help things along on your journey to conception.
First up, and this is a big one, timing. You have to know your fertile window. Now, of course, every woman's cycle is a bit different, but a really good rule of thumb is to have intercourse on alternate days, starting around day 12 of your cycle and continuing to day 22. This really helps make sure you cover your bases around the time of ovulation.
And even though we know leakage isn't a fertility problem, hey, why not use a little gravity to your advantage, right? So after intercourse, try these super simple things. First, just stay lying down for about 20 or 30 minutes. Don't jump right up. To take it a step further, you can raise your legs up against a wall or even just prop a pillow under your hips. Every little bit can help.
And remember, this is a team effort. So here are a couple of specific tips for the male partner. First, aiming for deeper penetration right at the moment of discharge can help get the sperm a little closer to their target. And second, don't withdraw immediately. Staying in place for just a minute can act as a natural barrier, helping to keep everything moving in the right direction.
All right, let's dig into a more specific question that I know some of you are probably thinking about. What if you notice some discharge the next day? Is that still the same thing we've been talking about?
Well, the answer really depends on one simple thing: what you did after intercourse. If you stayed lying down all night, then what comes out the next morning is almost certainly just leftover fluid finally making its exit because you're moving around. Totally normal. But if you got up, walked around, and used the bathroom after intercourse, then a new discharge the next day probably isn't semen. It could be a sign of something else, maybe a common vaginal infection.
And this is really important to pay attention to, because unlike the normal fluid leakage, an actual untreated infection can make it harder to conceive. So if you're ever concerned about a discharge that seems unusual or persistent, please do the right thing for your body and your peace of mind. Go see a doctor.
Okay, so we've totally busted the biggest myth about leakage. We've gone through some really practical tips. Now it's time to bring it all home and talk about where your focus should really be. Here it is, the whole ballgame. When you boil it all down, there are really only two things that matter most for conception. For women, it's all about healthy ovulation, making sure you're releasing a healthy egg each month. And for men, it's all about healthy sperm. That means having a good number of them, making sure they can swim well, and that they have the right shape. That's it. That's the core of fertility.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. You may have spent a lot of time and energy worrying about the what-ifs of something that's totally normal. But are you ready now to shift your focus to what truly matters? The absolute best, most proactive step you can take from here is to talk with a professional to make sure those two pillars, healthy ovulation and healthy sperm, are strong. That's how you move forward, with knowledge and confidence on your path to building a family.